So if you're running a service business and your email list isn't generating at least 10K a month in monthly revenue, then this is the video for you. So I'm going to show you exactly how we break down and audit an email system and find money that's already sitting there. Now we're talking about 25K plus in monthly revenue, and most businesses don't even know it exists. So let's dive into it. So as you can see, this is our $1 million email audit for high ticket services. And this is for any service business in reality. So it's a complete framework and implementation guide. And I'll link this down in the description below. And also, this is very in-depth. I mean, how many pages? 11 pages of kind of information here. If you want any help with this at any point, just book a call in the description below and we can do this completely for you. So in this document, we're going to outline the systematic approach we do use to audit high-ticket email systems and add 25K plus in monthly revenue opportunities. So why are high ticket email audits different? So e-commerce versus high tickets, we've all kind of received those e-commerce emails. It's buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Whereas you're selling something that's high ticket or more expensive than that. So e-commerce focus on abandoned carts, product recommendations, discount campaigns. And with your high ticket service, you're focusing on relationship building, trust establishment, sales process integration, and you should have automation set up where along the customer journey, there are different checkpoints where if someone say books a call and doesn't show up, then we need to reactivate them through our email automations as well. We're not just emailing these people saying, hey, buy my stuff, sign up to my webinar, call to action, call to action, call to action. So I've audited over 100 high ticket businesses, and this is what I see every single time. So you've got coaches with 5K programs, consulting charging 10K, agencies 3K a month retainers, and they're not driving any of this revenue through their email list. So these people already know who you are. They've given you their information, and now they just need to be nurtured, overcome objections, and build trust so that they are ready to buy when you present an offer. So sometimes they'll have anywhere from 2,000, 10,000, 100,000 emails on their list, and they're sending a newsletter once a month maybe. So this means that your sales calls are harder. Your prospects show up cold, and then the sales call is actually just more of an information call where they actually find out who you are, what you're selling, and how you can help them, when they should have that information before they even jump on the call. So here's the thing, most email marketing is about newsletters and is hoping that someone buys. And for high ticket, this is completely wrong. You're kind of pushing people along this journey and nurturing them along the way. So when you do present the offer, they're already ready to buy it because they've already seen you as an authoritative figure. So let's go in. So the key differences, longer consideration cycles. So weeks and months versus minute hours. So in e-commerce, you'll find a lot of the time that it's based on impulse. If I give you a 50% discount on buying a pair of gym shorts, then you're going to buy it there. And then you think, oh God, better make the most of this. Whereas if you're selling a program for 3, 5, 10, 20K, it's a longer sales cycle. Someone has to think about that. It's quite a big investment for them a lot of the time, depending on your ICP, where they may not have the money, they may be able to get it. So they need to be sure in their minds you can overcome the objections before they even arise. So when you do jump on the call, they go, oh, I'm already sold. And it's happened to me multiple times with different people's information products where I'm already sold before I even get on the call. All I need to know is the price. So if you're selling a $500 course, your email strategy is going to be different versus someone who's selling like a $10,000 consulting package. It's completely different consideration times. And you need to kind of identify, what are you selling? So is it consulting? Is it coaching? Done for you services? Obviously, they're all going to have different price points. And the key question is, what happens between when someone first hears about you and when they actually buy? So do they book a call immediately? Do they follow you for months? Do they consume your content? A lot of the time you'll be driving things through ads and organic already. So you're already nurturing them, but the inbox is something that people check every single day. And it's just another opportunity for you to overcome the pain points that you're hearing in your calls. So one thing we do is map all the objections, the most common ones, and then create emails based on that journey after a call so they can overcome those objections. So they either rebook ahead of their kind of next follow-up call, or they just go ahead and buy. So they've already got the information that they need. They just weren't 100% sure. They needed some time to think about it, speak to their partner. You just overcome all of that through the email directly to their inbox that they've then went and read, and now they're ready to buy. So when I'm doing this, I'll map out the customer journey and then how do people typically find you. And there's actually more videos on my channel if you have a look around different funnels and where you should be adding email automations throughout that process to collect cash while you're sleeping, basically. These people need to be nurtured, and it's a standardized journey that someone's went through. So just put the same people through the same journey. And once we understand that, then you can have an email system that's supporting that 100%. And in most audits, I find there's massive gaps. So especially around people no showing to calls, getting to rebook, things like this, it may be that you say, okay, they can't rebook, but therefore you're leaving money on the table. It could be that a couple of emails and they're like, oh shit, I really do need this. And that's where the money is hiding. So before we look at any metrics, we need to get crystal clear on the customer journey. And we just dive into the cost of getting it wrong. So each email could represent 5 to 25K in lost revenue. So that's one person buying your program. If you're losing 5, 10 of those a month, that really starts to add up. And your poor email strategy equals harder sales calls because these people are coming for information they're not already aware of what you're selling. And then prospects showing up cold instead of pre-warmed, which is what we look to do. So value dense emails before the call, and then objection handling after the call as well. And then you're competing on price instead of value. Now, this is the biggest thing, especially in a high ticket space. But even if you're selling any kind of service, in reality, it could be that you offer roofing, solar, you're a spa. If you are the same as everyone else in the market, then they're just going to go with a cost-based decision rather than seeing you as the premium provider in your marketplace. So phase one, business contact and customer journey analysis. Now I've kind of spoken about this a little bit already, but kind of what is the offer analysis? What are you selling? And what is the kind of pricing effect on the email strategy requirements? So is it a 20K consulting offer? Is it a 1K $500 course? That's going to make a massive difference because they're going to need different levels of information based on that purchase. And again, your ICP, is it an enterprise client? Is it B2C? This obviously makes a massive difference as well. And then first contact to the purchase decision, and then where do prospects get stuck or drop off? And again, we look to fill those gaps with our email systems. And then the customer journey gap. So what happens between opt-in and purchase? And our prospects guided systematically or left to figure it out. Now, we don't want people to be left to figuring it out because therefore they just get lost. They then don't want to buy because they think, oh, well, I have to make this decision myself. So we typically reveal systematic nurturing between opt-in and sales calls. There isn't any. Prospects going through decision process without guidance, massive gaps where prospects are left alone for weeks or months, and email not integrated with the sales process, which is probably the biggest thing here. If you are running sales calls, this can be the biggest asset for you. So with this, we can shorten sales cycles by 30 to 50% because they're coming to the call with all the information they need. You just need to kind of ask them a few questions, dig into the problem, and then close them on the call. And the systematic nurturing improves close rates by 20 to 40%. And then integrated approach uses, I need to think about it because they've already got all the information. When someone says, oh, I need to go away and think about this, they already have all of the information they need so that you can just easily dig into that pain point and then refer back to some of the emails they've already sent. So then phase two is the list health and growth analysis. So basically how many people are on your list currently? And I don't mean what's the total number when you go into your ESP, which is your email service provider, because they're not all active people. So you may have 1 million people on there, or let's say 100,000 just to make this easy. If someone hasn't opened your email in the last 60 days, and that could only be out of 100,000, say 50,000 of those people, the other 50,000 aren't going to open in reality. It's very rare. So you'd look to target them with a reactivation campaign instead of your normal communication. And you're killing your deliverability. So you have a domain health score, which is based on your open rates across your campaigns. If your open rate's 10%, because only 10,000 of those people are actually opening your emails, then guess what? Your reputation is that only 10% of people want to see those emails. Whereas you email the people who are actually interested, then you will reach your kind of inactive members in the inbox rather than going to that promotions tab, which I always bang on about. No one's opening emails in there. It's filled with e-commerce brands and people who are just trying to sell you shit rather than an email that you may find really valuable that's going to nurture you along to your purchase. So higher ticket needs fewer, higher quality prospects, and engagement quality matters more than list size. So the key metrics to analyze here are kind of subscriber sources. So where are these people coming from? Is it content, networking, referrals, paid ads, lead magnets, growth partners? So is it consistent growth, sporadic growth, or declining growth? And this is across your list specifically. And then what's happening with your engagement? Is it going up? Is it going down? So what I found most commonly is open rates of 15 to 20%. Now you should be aiming for 50% in reality. Let's say 40 if you're currently at 10%, just to kind of get things back up and running. And if you're not there, this is how you solve it, basically. This is 100% how you solve it. You email the people who are actually interested. You try to reactivate the people who aren't opening your emails, because guess what? When someone opens an email and they see significant value from it, they're very likely to open that email again. So if I sent an email to someone with, okay, this is how you get your open rate from 10% to 50%, and they went and implemented it and went, oh my God, shit, I've just seen a massive impact as a result. If I send them another email on something, they're probably going to open that too, because they now think of me as an authority in the space and think, okay, this guy can really help me, which is exactly what I do for people. So the common problems discovered: 40% of listers inactive. They haven't opened an email in 90 days or more. I tend to go with 60 days, but again, both we can have a look at to see what the list size is. You don't know where your subscribers are coming from. Your engagement is declining and your list growth is stagnant or even declining in reality when you look at the real numbers. So immediate opportunities is reactivate 15 to 20% of those inactive people. Focus on growing the highest quality sources. So if your booked calls that are closing are all coming from, let's say, your YouTube channel, and you're getting all of the qualified leads from there, then you would look to double down on that rather than kind of focus on the Instagram content that's driving other people who are basically just wasting your time. And then segment by engagement for targeted messaging. So everyone getting the same email. So I actually was working with a client the other day. He was driving people to a webinar for his paid school community. And it was a free webinar ascending from free to paid. So he was trying to get people onto this call to get them into the paid group. The people who were in the paid group already were still receiving these webinar reminders and were getting 3 to 4 emails a day. And the open rate had tanked because these people had already been on this webinar, they'd already converted, and therefore they shouldn't have been getting this email. And that's what happens when you don't have this segmentation in place in order to kind of drive that through. So let's move on to phase 3, your current email performance audit. So this is a frequency and consistency analysis. So typical findings, people are sending 1 to 2 emails a month, and it should be 3 to 4 a week, maybe even every day, depending on your kind of offer, what you're selling, etc. But we can have a look at that. Inconsistent timing and frequency, long gaps between communications, and no systematic approach to content. So just to go into this, in most orders I hear, well, if I try and send something every week, sometimes it's more like every 2 weeks, once a month. Look, I've analyzed loads of these different businesses, and the first thing I'm looking at is sending frequency and consistency. So it's the same as if you post on social media. If you get it going consistently, people start to look for your content because it's a constant reminder of, okay, this guy posts at 5 p.m. every day. It's like a newsletter that someone sends weekly. You may look out for that. It's like if you ever used to read the newspaper, obviously very fucking old fashioned, but every day someone would go, put out their routine, open my phone, look at the news for the day. That's something people do. And if you can build that consistency into your messaging, then that's what's going to get people to keep opening your messages. And a lot of the people I work with, I see declining open rates and they have no idea why. So you're not emailing enough and people forget who you are. This is the problem. So if I signed up for a lead magnet 3 months ago and I haven't heard from you since, I no longer have any idea who you are. So especially with TikTok, everyone's attention span is at -1. So they can't even concentrate for longer than 5 seconds. So you think that they're going to remember you after 3 months of signing up to a lead magnet, no matter how good it was in the first place. So performance metrics review, open rates, so a high ticket benchmark around 35 to 45%, so kind of around that 40% mark that I mentioned earlier. But there's a declining trend. So the relationship is deteriorating between you and your prospects because you're not messaging them, they don't know who you are. And think about someone who adds value on a daily or weekly basis versus someone who emails you once a month with something that is just an offer. Who are you going to be more likely to buy from? Is the person who's added the value and built themselves as an authority. And yes, you're probably already doing this through your content, through your ads, propaganda, advertising, all that good stuff. Love a bit of Jeremy Haynes. But without the emails going to their inbox every single day, you're just leaving money on the table because some people like to buy through webinars. Some people like to buy through sales calls. Some people like to buy through emails and book their calls that way too. So it's just another string to your bow, another way you can get cash in the bank. And a lot of the time it's neglected and there's just money sitting on the table. So click rates around 3 to 5%, and low rates is because the content is not compelling or relevant. And no clicks is basically the audience isn't engaged with the topic. So people have to open your email in order to click on it in the first place. So if your open rate is 10%, 5% of that is going to be pretty high. That's 50% of people who open it have clicked it, and it's just very unlikely. So start by getting the open rate up, and then look to get the click rate up as well. And this is where we start to refine the content based on kind of what's working, what is getting the highest click-through rate, and then how can we analyze that content to repeat it with different framing, different objection overcomes, all of these different things that we'll start to go into based on, okay, what are the results telling us on our weekly reporting, on our monthly reporting, and how can we reiterate that and do more of it so we're getting more results? So especially when each client's worth 5, 10, 25K, you don't know how many sales opportunities your emails are creating. And it's like running Facebook ads and then not caring about conversions. So you need to track these things. This is the biggest thing. If you're not using data to run your business, then you're leaving money on the table. And every email you send should have a purpose. So it should be either building trust, handling objections, or moving people towards a buying decision. So if they're not generating calls, consultations, sales, what's the point? Now, the only other thing on that would be to nurture people into when they do get on the call, to then have them close at a higher rate. But again, you need to have that in mind when you're creating the email, because every single email has a different purpose. So consultation booking rates are basically any sales call. It's the most critical metric if you're running that sort of funnel. It depends on what your sales process looks like, but I'll just use the sales call. It's the most common here. So you should track emails, consultations, and sales. So if you're not using HighROS, this is a great way to do this, but you can use any UTM tracking parameter in order to do this. And then analyze the content to understand, okay, what is going on? So company updates, nobody really cares about that. Industry news, again, it's hard for people to kind of then be converted based on industry news unless you make it personalized and tell a story, because that's what people really start to resonate with 99% of the time. And then the occasional sales pitch. So random, not systematic. If you're building up a launch or a webinar or a conversion event, then this completely makes sense. But again, you need the segmentation to send it to the specific parts of your list, not everyone on that list. Because if I'm already a high ticket member of your program and I start getting emails about this Ascension program to join the high ticket club, then I'm going to be thinking, hang on a second, I'm already in there. It may spark curiosity, but again, it's pointless me joining that call and then training our information on them joining that call, because it's not for them. So this feeds nicely into our next one, which is the revenue opportunity identification. But let's just go into this, which I've already mentioned. So personal stories, case studies, strategic frameworks, basically anything that adds value to the audience. And then automation gaps are typically found. So welcome sequences, they often suck, if I'm being honest. No follow-up for consultation because the sales calls, there's no follow-up after that to overcome the objections that are presented. No post-consultation sequences, no reactivation campaigns to the people who aren't opening the emails, and then no client onboarding sequences. So again, all of this can be automated so you can sleep better at night. That is kind of the main goal here, and collect more cash in the process as well. But let's move on. So revenue opportunity identification, there's 5 big revenue opportunities, and we're going to run through them now, which is the first one is inactive subscriber reactivation. So the current state is 30% to 40% of your list is inactive. And the opportunity is, let's even say 10% reactivation on those people. Now, that could be an easy 5 to 15K monthly revenue just from dead subscribers, just from doing a reactivation campaign that gets these people back opening your emails, gets them nurtured, gets them to book a call, and they come pre-sold to that call, ready to buy. So this is normally a 4 email sequence. Did I do something wrong? Direct, honest communication, and then clear opt-out options. So after the end of those 4 emails, you just remove them from the list. They'd no longer receive the emails. If they do sign up to like a lead magnet or another lead capture form, at that point, they'll go back into the initial process. And then they're in that 60-day opening window. So they just start to get nurtured again, which is the best way to do it, just to clean it out and then kind of have them opening those emails again, because they actually associate the value with them again, rather than just receiving emails from someone in their promotion folders that they haven't spoken to for 6 months. Past client reactivation. So this is also called database reactivation. This is about your past clients, anyone who's churned, been a previous client, anyone who's basically been a part of your client team before, or been a client before, sorry, but now they're no longer part of that. Now, these are the people who are going to be your warmest leads on that list because they were part of the program and then they decided to leave. Sorry, I just give myself wings. So again, what's changed in your program since you last spoke to these people? Is there additional services, testimonials, referrals? It may be that it ended in a bad way. Now, obviously, you would kind of segment these people out of that list, but there's plenty of people who it just wasn't the right time. They got what they wanted out of the program, all these different sorts of things that you're probably neglecting. If they did get their end result and that's why they did leave, then they're probably likely to refer someone. And this is another thing that we'll come on to, where we can get more referrals as a result of emailing these past clients. So implementation, quarterly check-in campaigns, additional service presentations, referral requests, and success story collection. So again, testimonials are going to be your biggest marketing tool in terms of getting people to close, because it's how can that person be relevant to me and show me that they got a result that I am looking for. That's just social proof and is the biggest driver of kind of closing people. This, in terms of the referrals and the testimonials and everything in between, one, you could reactivate them to be back to being a paying client, but 2, if someone gives you a referral and it's the best testimony you've ever heard in your life, it may convert 5 people, 10 people anyway. So that means that you're going to drive so much revenue from even just emailing people about that it might close 5 to 10 clients anyway. So consultation, so let's call it sales booking optimization. Engaged subscribers who are not booking calls. So this is people who are engaging with your emails. They are nurtured. They're just not. They just need that final push to book a call. They may be busy, and it may just be that they check their inbox on the right day at the right time, and then they book that call. And again, that could be 10 to 20 additional consultations a month. So sales calls. Again, use your pricing based on this, but 15 to 50K from existing warm prospects. And then the implementation is identifying the non-bookers. So anyone who hasn't booked a sales call or hasn't closed from a sales call. Systematic consultation campaign. So basically a push to get people onto a sales call outside of your ads that are already running. Multiple angles and approaches, and then clear and compelling invitations. So again, the call to action here would probably be book your sales call or come to this event or webinar or something where you can get people back into that conversion mechanism to make them a paying client. Then we have the referral system implementation. So current state, you're probably either not doing this at all or it's random and infrequent referral requests. So again, 2 to 5 quality referrals. This could be 10 to 25K from your clients already. So systematic referral campaigns, make referrals easy for clients. So whether or not they want to send you a text, whether or not they want to record a video. I mean, videos are the ones that do the best in terms of social proof because it's someone really talking about it. And a lot of people will fake testimonials. So if someone's talking about it, it almost can't be fake unless you use AI. But again, way more trust. Then follow up on referral opportunities and incentivize people where appropriate. So it could be that when someone hits a specific milestone in your program, let's say the 6-month mark or a specific result, they get automated into this campaign where they are then asked for a referral. And again, if you're not asking for these already, then it's an untapped source of revenue that from email especially, they can just forward the email on to someone else and say, look, this guy's fucking amazing. You should work with him too. And then client upsell opportunities. So one and done client relationships is what you're currently doing. And if you think that you can't sell 1% or 10%, or even, let's go with 1%. If you can't sell 1% of your clients on an upsell, then it's a limiting belief because there will be people in there, depending on the number of clients you have. Let's say you have 10,000 clients. You're telling me that you can't close 10 people on a, say, double the price, 5 times the price, 10 times the price, completely done for you, like more touch points approach where it's just easy cash collected for you and your business. So again, opportunity 20 to 40% in existing client lifetime value. And this could be 5 to 25. Again, it depends on your price per existing client. So implementation, systematic upsell sequences. So getting people nurtured into the point where let's talk about kind of 3 potential leads. So leads to clients and then to upsell, right? So the nurture flow that someone's going to go from being a lead into an existing client is going to be completely different from an existing client to an upsell, because they're on a completely different customer journey. And if you're sending them the same emails, they're all going to be going towards that conversion system of become a paying client. If you want to upsell someone into something else, it's a completely different messaging sequence. You should have emails that basically do that specifically. So it's about long-term relationship building, success-based expansion offers that, again, propel them further in the result that they're trying to get rather than just focusing on what they're currently doing now. And then phase 5, so gap analysis and prioritization. So we're just going to do impact versus effort matrix. So the highest impact, lowest effort is the reactivation campaigns. It can literally be a 4 email sequence that you just send to all the inactive people, ask them to get back in. If not, just remove them. That's going to charge your open rates already because you're only emailing the people who are actually interested. A welcome sequence, because people are then nurtured into the kind of welcome to the program or to your lead list, that sort of thing, where the end goal of that would probably to book a sales call in the example we're talking through. And then again, getting people to book a call who haven't already to engage segments. So they're kind of engaged with your content, with your ads, with your emails, and they are reading them. So why would they not book a sales call? We just need to attack a new angle or overcome some rejections that then push them to a call. That can be a campaign that we do once a month. High impact, high effort. So complete automation system overhaul, advanced segmentation, implementation, and comprehensive client journey mapping. So this is where we come in and do everything for you. So all of this is completely done for you, but the automation system overhaul and advanced segmentation, this is very high effort in terms of identifying who's a lead, who's a client, who's going for the upsell, did they book a sales call, did they not? And in another video, I'll show you where we split out the customer journey to say, okay, this is your landing page. Did they opt in? Yes or no? Did they book a sales call? Yes or no? Did they attend the sales call? Yes or no? And it goes through every single segment, basically based on your customer journey. So all of these people receive different messaging. Now, there'll probably be one newsletter or something like that, or a weekly email that adds value that everyone will receive. But again, you might want to tailor that messaging based on where they're at in that customer journey. Again, clients versus leads versus upsells versus your highest ticket premium customers, they're going to need different messaging. Then the low impact, low effort. So email design improvements, subject line optimization, send time testing. Again, yes, do it, but it's not going to be a massive impact. Email design, I think, is fairly overrated unless you're in e-commerce and you're trying to sell someone on an impulse buy. It's pretty pointless. And then subject line optimization. This is something that you can look to do based on open rates and what is kind of enticing your customers into opening your emails. But again, I am more a believer of if you provide the value to someone first in, say, the first email they open, let's say through a welcome sequence, they're going to continue to open your emails because they've seen value from the first one. So they're going to associate that value to every email you send. And then send time testing, again, it depends on your audience. You can set up custom automations to send it to everyone at 9 a.m. in their time zone, for example, or go for a universal time zone that's like midday in the East Coast and then a different time in the West Coast. If you're targeting people in Europe, again, it's pretty similar time zone across them. But if you're multinational, it's, again, low effort, low impact. And then low impact, high effort. So complex automation workflows, advanced personalization, and multiple platform integration. So again, we handle all of this, but the advanced personalization, normally what we just lead with is name. That's how you kind of entice someone. It's for me. When you're looking at, say, these people that use Clay for cold emails and things like that, there's not something you need to do with your existing client base. You already have the authority with these people. So you no longer need to kind of sit there and pretend that, oh, I know everything about your business when you're emailing, say, 10,000 people on your list, basically. Now, again, what you can do with the segmentation, if someone has booked a call and then not show to it, that's where you can go through the personalization of where they're at in the customer journey, but not in terms of, oh, your dog named John, that sort of thing, basically. I don't know who's got a dog named John, but there we go. So prioritization, revenue potential, implementation speed, resource requirements, and risk level, and then versus skill requirements. This is more on the tech side of things that, again, we handle everything. And then implementation roadmap. So 30-day quick wins, audit completion. So that's everything from tech to copywriting to strategy based on what's working, what your past performance is, and just making sure you've got everything set up from a tech point of view. And then week 2, reactivation, campaign creation and launch, just to get these people back in the door. Week 3, basic welcome sequence development. And then week 4, first consultation booking campaign. So maybe at the end of the month, you do a campaign to try and push people to get more sales calls in for the end of the month so you can close as many clients as possible. And again, this is all based on everything else as well. This is a bit of a template, whereas based on your actual scenario, this would be completely different. Month 2, complete the welcome sequence implementation. So then again, with the advanced segmentation setup, referral campaign development, and performance tracking system. So within the first month, we would set up a tracking campaign where we have weekly analysis that you will be sent to your team. So a weekly report that says, okay, what are our open rates over the last week? How much cash have we collected over the last week? How many sales calls we booked? All depend on your customer journey. And just report that to you so you have full visibility in your business. Now, let me just tell you a story. So I had a VA literally this month, for being honest with you, and she was doing great work, but I had no visibility into what she was doing. And therefore, in my head, I automatically thought, oh, she's not doing anything. And without that level of reporting to you on a daily or weekly basis, you just don't know what's going on in the business. So that's why we look to fix that through telling you exactly what's going on, exactly what the plan is moving forward. So you have complete visibility at all times. And you can then jump in at any point and say, no, I don't agree with that. But again, we do everything, we're the experts, and yeah, I think you'd be happy with the results. So then optimization. So then we have the data that's coming in. We've got a lot of weekly reports. We can see, okay, what's working, what's not, and we continue to optimize and implement different automations and campaigns in order to do more of what's working, test more variables, but just make sure that everything we're doing is optimized. So if you needed, let's say you have a checkout page for an ebook or something along those lines, you may want to have an abandoned cart. Now, this isn't e-com, but it's just a way to nurture these people into finishing their purchase. And again, that could be this part of the cycle of the customer journey map where we say, okay, this is something we could look at initially. And then after the kind of 60, 90 days of up, we start to say, okay, what else can we optimize at this point in time? And then expected results. So after week 2, we'll obviously set a drip campaign where people start to get the reactivation emails. We'll do some reporting on that. Okay, how many people are reactivating? Then week 4, you'll see a spike in sales calls due to the kind of booking campaign on the engaged leads that you already have. Month 2 is the systematic revenue improvement. So when you really start to see the results coming in terms of the revenue that is being driven by emails that we track on a weekly basis, as I keep saying. And then month 3, 10 to 25K in monthly revenue increase. Again, that depends on your price. If you're selling someone for 25K, I would expect that to be way more than that, because we'll be booking way more sales calls off these emails alone. So then let's move on to the last couple of bits. So measurement and optimization. So the key metrics to track are open rates, click rates, reply rates, and list growth and churn rates. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into these because I know I've been speaking for about 30 minutes already. But these are the main things. So what's driving your open rate? If it's 10 to 20%, we need to do something, we need to do something fast. It could be your text setup, it could be your segmentation, it could be anything. Your click rates as a result are probably going to be low if your open rates are low. So let's kind of fix that first. Your reply rate, something we could look to do is in the welcome sequence, get someone to reply to the first email, because that gives you a great sender reputation, because people are responding to your emails rather than just being a broadcast. So just say, if you've got this, please reply yes. Something as simple as that can have a massive impact on your deliverability, because it improves your sender domain instantly, because people are replying to emails. It's almost like a conversation rather than just a broadcast going into promotions where you're trying to sell someone something. Business metrics, so sales calls booked, email to sale conversion rates, average deal size, and then LTV, and also cash collected being the North Star KPI that we track everything against here, by the way. This isn't a vanity metric. Okay, my open rates went from 10% to 40%, amazing. If you're not collecting cash, it's fucking pointless. So let me just make that clear. And then revenue metrics. So this is where we really dive into it. Monthly revenue from email marketing, how much are you getting per subscriber, per email sent, and then ROI on the price that you would pay for our team to kind of set this up for you, basically. And again, we expect this to be 3 to 5x minimum after this 90 days. So optimization, weekly performance review, monthly campaign analysis, quarterly strategic assessment, and annual system overhaul. So just going through everything and making sure everything's set up. Has your customer journey changed? Are you implementing a new conversion mechanism that we therefore need to set up automations on the back of as a result? So common audit findings and solutions. So low engagement rates. The solution is increase the frequency, improve content relevance, and segment by interest. Now, segment by interest being the main thing here. If people are not engaged, stop sending them emails. They're not opening them anyway. You're just killing your domain reputation. Few sales calls. So you don't have this systematic campaigns, you don't have clear CTAs, and you don't have multiple touch points. So people are going to a call that they have no idea what it's about. So why would they show up if they're not 100% sure? They're going, oh yeah, I could probably do this. I don't really know what it is, but I'm sure I'll find out on the call. I'm not going to be that bothered about finding out what it is if I don't know what I'm trying to find out in the first place. Long sales cycle, so nurturing people, objective handling, and trust building. So when they do jump on the call, they're already sold and you are just presenting them an offer and they're already ready to buy. Price objections, so demonstrating the value, social proof, and authority positioning, which again is done through your testimonials, your email nurture beforehand, before they even get on the call. And then prospects going cold. So this is very common in terms of people not receiving emails frequently, or they just stop engaging with them. And this is consistent follow-up, re-engagement campaigns, and relationship maintenance. Now, again, why would you buy from someone who you haven't spoken to in 6 months? You have no idea what they're doing. They could, for all you know, be doing anything, something completely different. So again, it's all about being consistent. So next steps, complete a full audit using this framework, identify the top 3 revenue opportunities, and create a 30-day implementation plan. So begin with the highest impact and the lowest effort improvements. And then ongoing support. So again, as I've already mentioned, monthly performance reviews, quarterly strategy updates, campaign optimization, and advanced automation implementation. Now, expected outcome is 2 to 3% increase in email generated revenue, just based on the emails that we're sending from the ones that have been over. Shorter sales cycles and higher close rates, and more predictable lead generation that are actually going to close. So in reality, leads are great, but if they're not paying clients and they're not putting cash in your bank account, who fucking cares? It's great to have them, but unless you're closing them, it doesn't matter. And then again, stronger client relationships and referrals, which again, if anyone refers, CAC 99% of the time, unless you're incentivizing people to do it, is 0. And it's the same with these emails. The customer acquisition cost is 0. You already have their information. And then expected outcomes. So yeah, already been over this. So this framework has helped loads of high-ticket business identify and capture 5 to 50K in monthly email revenue. Now, if you want to implement something like this, then my email address is here at the bottom of this document. I'll link this in the description so you can view it for yourself. And if you just want to use it as a checklist. Now, we obviously do this completely done for you for all of our clients. If that's something you're interested in, leave a comment, drop me a DM on Instagram or Twitter, wherever your preferred communication channel is, or just drop me an email and we can jump on a call and see if you are a good fit for this framework. And if you have money left on the table currently that we can get into your business as cash. Now, yeah, That's all I'm going to say. I'll let you make the decision yourself and we'll see if you're a good fit. But feel free to book a call in the description, and yeah, check out the other videos on my YouTube channel for more on this whole full stack email marketing and plugging the gaps in your current funnel.